Hello and welcome to this very special broadcast of the Fillmore County CASA. I'm Eric Johnson with KZ100 and Alpha Media, and we welcome you to this special broadcast. This broadcast is brought to you by Heartland Bank, member FDIC, and Weaver Pharmacy in downtown Geneva. Joining me on this broadcast of the Fillmore County CASA is Deborah Molman and Lynn Moosman. Lynn Moosman is the Fillmore County CASA Advisory Board member alongside Patty Roper and Frank Heinisch, and Deb Molman is the Fillmore County CASA Volunteer Supervisor and Coordinator. Also, we'd like to welcome Rand Ruth, Executive Director of South Central CASA, which includes the Fillmore County CASA. Ladies, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you so much for joining me. Now, let's begin. We'll go to Deborah and Lynn. Tell us about the Fillmore County CASA. Talk to us about how that all comes about.
Sure. Fillmore County CASA has been around in Fillmore County for over 20 years. And in 2016, we partnered with CASA of South Central. Our mission is to provide well-trained, court-appointed advocates for kids that are victims from abuse and neglect and are in the court system, the juvenile court system, by no fault of their own.
Now, Rand, I want to send it over to you as well. Overseeing the South Central CASA, what is your impact having such a wide area, including the Fillmore County CASA?
Well, in some ways, it's a blessing that we're able to serve as many kids as we can in the 6 counties that we serve. And Fillmore County does such a great job. One of the things that they should be proud of is that they're serving 100% of the kids that are currently in their court system. Unlike Adams County right now, where we have about 25 kids that are needing some assistance, but that can change in a moment. I mean, kids can be pulled, right now. And so advocates are needed all the time to serve every single county.
Okay, so I got a 2-part question. We're talking about helping the CASA kids. Deb, let me go to you. What are you looking for in a CASA volunteer, and how can you become one?
Okay. What we're looking for in a CASA volunteer is to have a kind heart, to love working with children, and to have a caring heart, and also to make a commitment. It takes a little bit of a commitment to be on board with advocating for a child and looking out for their best interests, doing regular visits, talking to legal parties and foster parents, and getting the overall picture of how the child is doing and staying with that child, being their advocate throughout the whole court process, what could take months. How can you become one? You just get a hold of our office. We'll set up an interview with you. We'll go over all the information and the requirements, which entails some pre-service training for our volunteers and also required ongoing training. And if you love children and love to work with children and are willing to make these commitments, CASA is right for you. And we can sure use you to come on board with us. You would be more than welcome. And like Ruan said, things can change in a heartbeat. Right now in Fillmore County, our cases are covered, but kids could be removed at any time where we would need more CASAs.
I'd also just like to add, and Deb is absolutely spot on, some of the other requirements is that you have to be over the age of 21. You have to be able to pass a background check. And we also ask that every volunteer commit to this organization for a minimum of 1 year, just simply because we see a lot of adults coming in and out of these children's lives, that we really want this to be a good connection, that where the volunteer knows that specific child and can advocate for that child in a courtroom. And the way you do that is by being committed. We ask that every volunteer go and visit their child a minimum of at least one time a month. Usually the typical number of hours that a volunteer dedicates is between 10 and 12 hours a month. the good part about that is that a lot of it can be done now with phone calls to your CASA child, or you can go visit them. And we would encourage you, as long as you feel safe and you keep the CDC guidelines, in mind. You can email their teachers. You can have conversations with, their foster parents, those kinds of things. So this is a really good family-friendly volunteer opportunity.
And, you, the listening audience, if you would like to voice a question to Rand, to Deb, or to Lynn, it's real easy. You have us on Facebook at KZ100 or any of the other Alpha Media Columbus stations, as well as My Central Nebraska on YouTube. As you're watching the stream, you can interact live. Just simply leave a comment down below, and it's real easy, and we'll be able to answer that for you. Now, as we talk about a CASA volunteer, Lynn, I want to come to you. Tell us what it meant for you to be a CASA volunteer.
Well, I've been doing this for 8 years now. And initially, when people think about volunteering, you think about you want to make a difference. You want to make an impact on somebody. With CASA, you become a part of their story, and you hope that you can change their story. But after 8 years, I realized that they have helped change my story. You become very attached to these kids, and you learn with them, and you grow with them. And I had a CASA child here a while back that had a birthday, and I told her that I hope that she become the person that she was meant to be. And instead of me being the change, I want her to be the change that the world needs to see. And that's very important for these kids. They're amazing. And I just so appreciate being a part of their life to help change their story as well as my own.
That was very touching. Now, Rand, tell us a little bit about, for you in a larger standing, with the big cities and whatnot there, what does it mean for you to be involved with CASA?
Oh, I'm just going to echo what Lynn said. It is such a wonderful, wonderful, it's been my favorite place to work of all time, seeing the changes in families. I know sometimes when you deal with like the biological parents, we get people say, I could never get over the fact that there is a parent that abused their child. But when you calm the situation down and you really listen to those biological parents, they love their children and they want to do right by them. And they probably have a history of trauma themselves, or child abuse, or growing up in drugs and alcohol, and that they want that opportunity to do things right. And so when that happens and we are able to reunify families, thanks to like CASA volunteers and the caseworkers and everybody that's part of this juvenile justice system, it warms your heart. It really, really does.
We're joined today by Rand Ruth, Deb Molman, and Lynn Mooseman, all representing Fillmore County CASA on this special broadcast. Big thank you to Weaver Pharmacy in Geneva and Heartland Bank, member FDIC. If you have a question, feel free to leave us a comment down below on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page at My Central Nebraska. Well, the holidays are coming up just around the corner, and it will be tough for many families. And with CASA, the prep work is a must, especially this time of the year. And with the current situation, what's something that you can do to help with families who need emergency assistance for CASA youth? Is there anything you guys do normally that can help them out this time of the year?
Yes. With COVID-19 especially, sometimes there's been furloughs and there's a lot of financial issues with families. And sometimes it's just a matter of providing clean clothes for the youth, hygiene items, or maybe a clean bed, mattress. Some families have an increase in domestic abuse, and they may have to move out suddenly with one parent, and they may not have some of these items to help them get started again. Our main concept is to help the youth and to help CASA youth and families. And we do get some referrals from teachers with high-risk youth that could be close to being in the court system. And we also help that, and those are assessed individually. We have a suitcase program for emergency placements. And we get notified that a child or children have been moved suddenly from their home for safety issues, and they may not have clean clothes They might have just grabbed a garbage bag full of things. And so we do have our suitcase program too that will help children get a clean, age-appropriate suitcase for them.
And you have an example of them, correct, with you today? You have an example of that with you today, don't you? One of the suitcases?
Yes, I do. If Lynn could get it for me. We tried to get an age-appropriate suitcase to kind of cheer them up a little bit. So this is the suitcase, one of the samples that we have, that when a child is removed from their home, we give them one of these suitcases with brand new clean clothes, hygiene items, things to kind of cheer them up or help make their transition a little bit better. And for the person taking in the child that may not have a lot of that size clothing yet. So it's really beneficial, and it really can cheer a child up a little bit anyway in a very difficult time. Lynn's church, St. John's out of Ohio, also made for our CASA children some very beautiful, and I just want to wrap myself in it, warm, beautiful blankets. And they're so soft, and we appreciate it so much, what they did for our CASA kids.
And of course, with this holiday season, of course, you see all the contact information, FillmoreCountyCASA.org. They're located in Geneva at 1320 G Street. And Deb's phone number, if you want to get a hold of her or any of the other volunteers, it's 402-759-4975. You see right there on the screen there, 759-4975. And Deb and Lynn and the whole crew will be able to help you guys out, no matter what situation. Even if, with the current situation right now, they're willing to help out any CASA kid that is in our CASA family that's in need. So final thoughts, Ruan, tell the holidays, it's going to be a struggle, but you guys are looking for volunteers, and the way to do it is, how do they get a hold of you guys in, with Adams County and whatnot?
They can even call Deb as well, but
Okay.
The Hastings phone number is 402-463-1030. And just, the closing thought, I think that, it's underestimated that the best gift that you can give your children is your time. And when you talk to former foster children that have aged out, and some of them are successful, some of them end up homeless, some of them end up in the prison systems. And when you talk to the ones that are successful, they will always say that the difference was that there was one person that believed in them. That's all it takes to make a difference in the life of a child. And we'd like to think that CASA is that one person, because we follow that child no matter where they go, wherever their placement is. And so, don't underestimate this season, that the biggest and the best gift you can give any child is your time.
Well, we'd like to thank you, Rand, as well as Deb and Lynn. Thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast. Of course, we want to thank our sponsors one last time: Heartland Bank, member FDIC, and Weaver Pharmacy in Geneva. For the Fillmore County CASA and for Alpha Media and KZ100, I'm Eric Johnson saying so long for now.
Thank you.